Let's start with Chenny, and I will have three questions for both of you. So let's start with the first one. The first one is actually quite broad, Chenny. It's basically to introduce yourself very briefly and say, why EXO, why are you interested in it, and why are you in the community? So Chenny, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Yaroslav. Welcome, everyone. My name is Chelly, and I am from the Philippines, and I work as a consultant and an executive coach for the company called the Rizal Academy for Innovation and Leadership, or TRAIL for short. Basically, we are a consulting agency or consulting company that does a lot of learning and development programs. And why EXO? Because I was really just fortunate to meet Kevin last year when he went to our office. And then at that moment, it was really an aha for me to have that experience of knowing another tool, how to bring organizations to its next level. And we are primarily an advocate of another framework, which is called Theory U. And on that framework, there's a portion there that's called prototyping. And that's where I actually saw how EXO can be a tangible material or tool for organizations to bring the next best thing for their organization and to see their highest potential. And so, as we are also a product of that same concept, we want to make it happen with Trail first. And because we are also a believer of learn by doing method, that's what really got me into this. So I quickly signed up for the EXO foundations and I learned about the attributes. And what I did find very relevant is some of the attributes may already be present in our organization, but we are doing it differently. Not yet in the spirit, or not yet in the aspect of really towards being global kind of aid company, or not yet in the sense of being highly technological advanced, or not yet all of those things, not yet in the technology aspect. So, and what's also interesting here is we really deliver our projects in a very analog way. Like even when we do our survey, it's all manual. And well, when COVID happened, it's just so timely that I am already in the program that, my perspective has changed a lot. And if I wasn't really part of EXO, we could have stopped operations already.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so fortunate that I've already been starting working on the attributes, how we can actually slowly transition and later on become more EXO. And those small steps kind of helped us to really stay afloat while still in this situation. And I'm just so happy that with all of those ideas that we've been discussing, right now we have a program that has already been transitioned or migrated to 100% online. So those are the things that I've learned so far. And I haven't really put things together because I'm still in the middle of completing them, but there's so much realization and so much learning.
Great, thank you, Jenny. We'll get to the certification just in a second, but it's great to see the background. Also, my experience of Theory U and generally, like people, kind of designing new things, is very important that not only they have the tool to do it, but they also have the awareness up front about how the world is changing. And I think this is something that we are helping with to understand what role technology can play in our society going forward. And I think that's very important before you even envision the future and do things. That's great. Celine, if you can do the same, if you can briefly introduce yourself and say why EXO community? How did you come across it?
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Celine Vural. I'm originally from Turkey. I live in Dubai for a long time, almost 18 years now. My profession is an architect, but in all my business life, as a middle-aged businesswoman, I must say, I always unlearn and learn new things. And this unlearning and new learning brought me to introduce myself to new technologies and disruptive technology advancements. And in the last 6 years, I have been heavily involved in business strategies, and I'm the strategy officer for a big holding company, multicultural, and I was working on traditional business development strategies. And while I was thinking about how to do business in more intelligent way, I met EXO community, and I'm very happy to be a part of Open EXO community because it's a very strong community, and all the members are very supportive, and we can discuss many revolutionary subjects, and we can find solutions to many problems. This is the most important thing for me, and it's evolving every time. I was a member of this amazing team since 2019 summer, so it's been almost 1 year now. Although I'm a part of a holding company, a holding structure, what I found that all the businesses at one point has to change and evolve and disrupt themselves in order to be a part of new era. And also I have another community that I would like to have an impact on is the young generation. Although there are lots of startups worldwide, however, as I said, as a mid-aged business people, they need a little bit of guidance where they put their ideas into reality. So at that point, EXO attributes are very useful to guide the startups to make it happen. On the other side, when it comes to consultancy, I think the very young generation, the high school students, and the student community is very important in my perspective. And in terms of consultancy, we have recently discussing having some school sessions as well, and educating them the EXO attributes, their future mindset, because it's all about the mindset, changing the mindset into the new business generation. And my experience with EXO community is wonderful. So I started with the EXO foundations, having all the theoretical part of the EXO attributes. And first of all, I found the MTP and its definition very strong, very powerful, massive transformative purpose, because this gives me an idea and a new mindset, not in business, but in my life as well. And you start thinking about how can I disrupt this and to have something new. So, and all the other attributes to manage abundance, they are very, very useful, and I find them very practical as well. And I continued with the consultancy certification as well. And my next target is having the EXO trainer certificate and EXO ambassador certificate as well. So, and I'm working on my consultancy company, working on the website and the creating the company as well. So hopefully you will see me around more.
I'm sure we will, Celine. If we thank you very much for the introduction. If I now go to the next question, which is basically the consultant course itself. So maybe if you can briefly tell us, why did you decide to take it? And then how has been the experience? You're now in week 4. So maybe some key reflections on the experience during the program.
After I took my EXO foundations and having the theoretical part of the subject, and regarding my target, having a consultancy company, EXO consultancy company, I started the consultant certification. I find it very interesting though, because transforming your theoretical subject into reality makes so much difference, and working with the real client is a challenge, because you see the feedback, you see the immunity system from the client, and sometimes it's not easy to explain if it is a very traditional company. But I was working with a startup company, but even though the company is very well aware of the new business style and the technology advancements, the client has so many advantages working within the EXO attributes. And now we are working on trying to find and change their MTPs and enhance their attributes as well. And I find it very, very useful to work with the real client. And it's a very good example to start the real world examples and the real application of the attributes.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great, Celine. And as Celine is saying, one thing is to kind of understand the concepts, but the other one is actually to go and have to explain it to someone for the first time that doesn't know anything, and then answer their questions, deal with the challenges, and everything. But what we are finding is that doing that during the course actually really helps people to start developing their own answers, their own kind of toolkit of examples, and their own confidence and their own skills, kind of building that side of their business. Some people are new consultants, like they are just starting their consultancy, maybe like Celine, just kind of forming a website and doing things. Some people are a bit more experienced in other things, but maybe they are learning EXO for the first time. So, all kind of different profiles are welcome. Jenny, the same question for you. Why did you decide to take the consultant course, and how has been your experience going through it?
Mm-hmm. As I mentioned earlier, it's because we feel that it's a perfect fit for what we are espousing on. And especially, that the Philippines is a developing country. And I guess it's the company's aspiration to support more organizations to think differently in terms of running businesses. And in that way, we're not just turning a company or an organization in this kind of thinking, but also developing its people within. That's why the method of EXO itself, like having all the attributes and holding it together with a very powerful MTP, kind of puts the people's perspective to really the next level of how they can actually bring organizations, not just earning for that matter, but also being sustainable, and as well as supporting. That's the number one, supporting the society. So that's the company's aspiration, and seeing this method really puts it together. I think that's what most of our clients are looking for when we say, oh, we want to prototype something. What exactly do we need to do? So the tools are very important, and the tools are things that are tangible that they want to create the results with. So I think that's the most important thing there. And when we're able to support them with that, it kind of puts the concepts into real practice, into results. It's always results driven. Yeah.
Great, perfect, thank you. And a final question, Jenny. If you now look, if you compare yourself 1 month ago and today, I mean, coronavirus aside, of course, a lot of things have changed, but if you can kind of take yourself, 1 month ago and now, what do you think has been the key value for you of going through the program?
I guess one thing that's really very important to me at the moment is really moving away from linear way of thinking. Like, even if I've already have things mapped out in my head, I've planned everything, I always, reassess myself and go back to the MTP and reassess again how I can actually capitalize, or I actually utilize the attributes so that I get to where I want to take the company to. So that's very very important to me. I used to have that mindset of, okay, you just have to follow the steps. It's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you'll get the results. But this isn't the case anymore. And and I guess with that breaking down that mentality of linear way of thinking, kind of makes me more agile, especially in designing, in ideating, and I really go out of my comfort zone. I really go out of the box.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jenny, and thank you for sharing your experience here. And Sarin, the final question, the same for you. If you take yourself 1 month ago and now, what do you think is the main takeaway for you from being in the program?
Definitely, I feel more confident about the EXO attributes and EXO subject, and also I feel very supportive with the EXO Open EXO community. It's an amazing community, I must say again. If you need any subject in mind to solve, you can easily open a question, and believe me, in one day hundreds of replies from the community members, and this makes me very confident, and I feel that I'm a part of a very strong community now. And this is a driving force for me to make my dream happen. And it's also a very powerful tool for if you are a person who would like to catch the transformation and all the technological advancements. You feel that you need to update yourself every day. And the OpenExo community is a very, very strong tool that gives you this driving force.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much, Salim. I appreciate both of you. Thank you for coming and for sharing your experiences. And I'm now going to go to Eric and Knox. So I'll have 3 questions for both of you, and we can kind of take turns in answering them. But Eric, my first question to you would be if you can introduce yourself to people, say where you're based, and tell us actually why you're in the EXO community in the first place. Don't even speak about the program yet. It's going to be a second question, but why actually have you joined the EXO community? Go for it, Eric.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Patel. I'm in the Boston area. I have a background in information technology, mostly software testing. I've also been working with Scrum and Agile teams for a few years, and I also do some training and coaching on the side as well. And I think my interest in EXO, certainly stems out of the Exponential Organizations book, and I think all the good work that the community has been doing over the years. I'm looking to get personally more involved, and there's a lot to be said about helping companies get better, improve, even to rates that I think are still these days difficult for most companies to believe, in the upwards of 10x, truly exponential, and to move from sort of the linear traditional model. So that's all been exciting, and looking forward to helping companies achieve more in the coming months and years.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. And I'll hand over to Knox. Knox, if you can hear us, if you can do the same, just introduce yourself and tell you how did you come across the community and why did you join?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, my name is Knox. My full name is Nogutaba. I am a Zimbabwean based in Botswana. I came to this community through so many searches. I searched the book for Salim until I was at EXO Works. We engaged with EXO Works, then they referred me to Open EXO. I work as an underwriter, and I'm also responsible for strategy in Botswana for a short-term insurance company. So the reason why I enrolled, or the reason why I became interested in the community, is because our shareholder wanted us to grow the business 10 times. And the only way we can grow 10 times is to understand the attributes of EXO, and hence my reason to join and be part of the community.
That's excellent, Knox. I didn't even know that. That's great to hear. I can now understand a little bit about your urgency in the consultant certification. That's great. So actually what happens in the consultant certification is that we ask people to work with a live company, and our definition is quite broad. So it can be a client that you're working with or a company that you are based in, or it can also be just a professional colleague. But Knox has actually worked with her company, with the Botswana insurance company. So if you can tell us, Knox, a little bit about why you joined the certification, the consultant certification, and how has been your experience going through it over the last 4 weeks?
Okay. I think that if you've heard of the corporate immune system, I think it's the reason why that made me join the community. When I read about the community, I started to see how we can benefit as an organization, and how I cannot only be the only person that talks about EXO. Then my colleagues as well, I think Kevin has seen a lot of my emails to him to add quite a number of my colleagues to the community. So I went into and started to invite my colleagues so that they understand that there's a big threat in any of our organizations, that if you then don't grow exponentially, if you don't appreciate and embrace the new exponential technologies, one day you may find the company closed, one day you may find yourself without a job. So for me, that was the main reason why I became part of this community, and why I did the certification program. And so that you understand how then do you implement this EXO model and how do you then start to implement and execute these technologies. So for me, it's been a big thing to me in the last 2 weeks, because it's not only the technology that they'll tell you that there's a platform for communities. They'll also tell you that there's a platform ABC. Here are the websites, here are the details, or read about this, get to know about this, to the extent that during the certification program, my IT guys have started to test some of the dashboards that were introduced to me during the consultancy. We've started to do some community platforms. I think we're finishing a week now. And we've started to invite our customers to the Mighty Network that was introduced to me now. So it was not just learning, it was also being upskilled. It was also being broadened in terms of what is available. Because some of us, we are in Africa, and I think we're a bit behind. If you are then not part of this community, or you don't do the certification program, then you lack that exposure. It's given me that benefit to be exposed to certain technologies that I wouldn't have been exposed to if I was not part of the certification program.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Knox. And Eric, the same question to you. Why consultant certification, and how was it the experience for you?
Sure. So last fall, I had earned my EXO Foundation certification, and this month, as you know, it was part of the cohort. And I guess I've just been a believer in the methodology for quite some time now. And I've also tried to get more involved in the community. I mentioned, reading some of the books, attending the summit, and then helping out with, some of the related challenges, and even the new EXO Launchpad framework. And I guess I believe that just becoming credentialed, I'm able to make, a little bit more of an impact working with companies who, want to grow, not linearly, but exponentially. And just, kind of business-wise, career-wise, I'd like to be able to offer coaching and consulting services here in the Boston area. And I know that these certifications, will help establish my credibility, as well as my commitment, to the methodology, as well as to the community as a whole. In general, I'm a believer in certifications. I do hold many from different disciplines and different organizations. And the one thing I've noticed is that they're all kind of similar, where you have to basically study and prepare and take an exam. But I noticed the open EXO certifications are kind of non-traditional in a sense that, you practice what you're going to be doing, whether it's as a consultant or a coach, et cetera. So with this EXO consultant certification, as you mentioned, you do work with a real client at a real company, helping him or her understand, their company's current business model, how exponential they currently are, and quite frankly, can be in the future. And then, like one example, one of the last things we did was we actually sat in on a call with an EXO advisor from the community who spoke with my client and about how they can become more exponential and, grow their company. So I thought that was great.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. And a final question is, if you look at yourself a month ago and today, kind of almost, you're just about to finish the program, what do you think are one or two key things that shifted for you, or that you're taking away from the program?
So I think it's maybe an increase in faith in the methodology, in the community. There are some case studies in the back of Exponential Transformations book. And I know that, people are applying the methodology these days. And I know that even with EXO Launchpad, that'll help even some of the early stage startup companies as well. So, it definitely starts with mindset and belief, and, knowing that no matter kind of where you are in the spectrum, you can grow, you can become more exponential, you can be like, one of these unicorns someday, and to be able to have that kind of knowledge and eventual experience to help companies do that, I think will be a great thing.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Eric. And Knox, a final question for you, the same. If you think of yourself today versus a month ago, what do you think are one or two key things that you're taking away that are different?
Okay. For me, what is very, very key is the power of the community. The fact that you get the opportunity to do an advisory call, and you get to experience how to use the platform in the marketplace, where you then look for that individual, and it gives you that opportunity to select who you can work with. And the other big thing for me was some individuals that I didn't select, they were open to interact with me. They were open to share information with me, and I think established relationships that are going to be long lasting. And the tools that are available, like the survey, the EXO, the model, the business canvas, the business canvas, as well as the EXO canvas. Those are tools that I wouldn't have known about a month ago, but these are tools that I've managed to use, and I've managed to convince my colleagues, like this morning when we had an advisory call, just the use of those tools for them to shed light to them to say, then this is the how. I think what Kevin was talking about, the ingredients, then the recipe. I think with most organizations, the reason why there's that corporate immune system is because the execution is always key to them. So the fact that now you've got the knowledge of the how, I think to me it was very key.
Excellent. Thank you, Knox. And thank you, Knox and Eric, to both of you for coming in and sharing your experience. I highly appreciate it. It was a pleasure to work together, and we have a few things to complete, but we'll do that shortly.